Hi, my name is Joe Marchio. Obviously, I'm also running for the school board, otherwise I wouldn't be up here. Grew up in Northeast Ohio. Been in Maryland since 2005, moved to Calvert County back in 2014. Mainly the reason we decided to move down here was because of how great the schools were and the reputation of all the schools. Decided to start running for school board as distance learning came into effect, and I watched my own child, who's always excelled at school, struggle because of distance learning. And then getting a peek into some of the things that were involved in that and some of the policies that came as far as how long it took to lift the mask mandate and things of that nature. So I decided to get involved and try to bring some sanity and some common sense back to things. I've got two young boys. I've got a 10-year-old who's at St. Leonard Elementary School, and I've got a 3-year-old who, as Damon said, I got one in the hopper, one in the chute, ready to go afterwards. So with all that, I'm running for Board of Education. Ask for you guys to vote on the 19th as well.
In your opinion, what is the most pressing need within the Calvert County Public School system at this time?
Risk of sounding like a broken record, I also think one of the most pressing needs is our staff, teachers, and the support staff. One, we need to retain them. We need to make sure they feel valued. We need to give them the tools for them to do their job and not be burdened with cumbersome paperwork or other tasks. We need to let them teach and focus solely on teaching. Take some of those other responsibilities off of them. And one of the ways that can help to do that, and as well as increasing the teachers so we can reduce the student size in the classroom, is also within taking a little bit better look at the budget, being a little more refined in it, finding places where we can shave it and being a little more creative. One thing I left about my intro, I'm a division manager for a general contractor specializing in heavy utility work. Yearly basis, manage about $15 million worth of work. So I'm very adept at managing things within a budget and figuring out how all the pieces go together and squeezing things to where they need to be. So I believe there's some things we can squeeze out of the budget from where they are versus just requesting more money every time. That way when we're requesting more money, we can make even bigger impacts than what we already have. So I agree with most everybody up here. Keeping our teachers, supporting our teachers, and finding new ones is the most pressing need.
Please discuss how you will support teachers to feel supported and valued in their jobs.
So, as kind of been already mentioned, the biggest thing is talking to them, but also listening to them. And that's not simply sending out an email and getting some feedback, or sending out a survey or Google Sheet and getting some feedback. You need to actually go out, talk to the teachers in the schools, observe their classrooms, sit in, see what they're going through, get their input on what can be done to improve their day-to-day. And to do that, you're going to also need to free up some budget money, because we need to get away from where teachers have to go spend their own money and buy items for their classroom that they need. So we need to do that from a budget standpoint. That'll help support them. But the biggest thing is just talking to them, getting their buy-in, and finding solutions from the teachers. They are professional educators. They know what can work best and how to best approach things. So we need to listen to them and get their input and enact policies based on that, but also figure out how to make those work within the framework of what comes down from the mandates of the Maryland State Department of Education, because there are some handcuffs in that regard. But if we do talk to them, we can find some creative ways to work together and overcome those challenges and support them so they feel heard.
Will you remove the 10-person limit, vote to change Board of Education meeting start times after 6 p.m., and engage in Q&A format with constituents via public meetings?
All right, so as far as removing the 10-person limit, absolutely we need to remove it. I understand it's a business meeting. However, the Board of Education, our elected officials, are responsible to the citizens which elect us, so we need to hear all of them out. As far as starting meetings after 6 p.m., absolutely. I think they all should start after 6 p.m. By large majority, this county is a bedroom community. Most people have a 45-hour commute to get home every night. To try to get home by 3:30 or to get to a meeting before 3:30 down here, if you work up in D.C., it's next to impossible. You got to carve out a whole portion of your day for that. And as far as a forum or Q&A, I understand the concerns with doing that at the business meeting, doing it outside of a business meeting and having Q&A where people can engage. Absolutely, we need to talk to the community more, get their input. The board is elected. They should be answerable to the citizens. That's the entire point. So yes, I would support that.
What is your plan to protect the rights and safety of all students, including the LGBTQ+ youth, of Calvert County Public Schools?
Yeah, no, the safety of all our students is absolutely paramount. Doesn't matter what capacity we're talking about. What we need to do is we need to support them. We need to have staff on board, whether it be counselors or other professionals as well as SROs, to keep everybody safe, and also give, with counselors, whether it be a guidance counselor or another type of mental health counselor, somebody that can help out and help that person. But the biggest thing is we need to teach our kids to be kind. My 10-year-old doesn't care what anybody is or professes to be. Just if you're a nice person, he wants to be your friend. So we just need to teach people to be kind, be accepting, and be open to everybody. School should be an absolutely safe space, and yes, we got to give everybody the opportunity to have a fair and equal education. So that's how we do it.
Thank you.
With regard to the anti-racism policy adopted by the Board of Education on December 10th, 2020, how would you address the racial stereotyping in the policy defined as, quote, white privilege, unquote, and what is your overall opinion on the policy?
All right, as far as the term white privilege, it is racially charged. Specifically says white privilege. It implies that only white people can act as if they have privilege or oppress others. I don't agree with that. I don't think the policy as it currently stands is great. I think it could definitely be rewritten and better. It talks about equity, but the problem with equity, having an equal outcome, you have to treat people inequitably in order to force an equitable outcome. That's where the problem lies with that. We need to give everybody a fair equity to opportunities and help all of them succeed, not force outcomes.
What are you bringing to the board that speaks to growing diversity of our county and education?
Okay. Not quite sure what, as the Board of Education, I can do to bring diversity to the county as a whole, or also bring diversity to our education outside of bringing in different people that can speak to our students and to our staff about their stories, their lives, whether it be an immigrant or anybody else. They can talk about how they ended up here, what their involvement is, what their views are, what their experiences are. I don't have all the answers for that one, to be quite honest with you. And I'll be the first to tell you I don't have any answers, but it's something I can research and figure out a better answer to. So I'll yield back the rest of my time.
Thank you.
What are your areas of concern regarding student achievement in your district? Joseph?
All right, so areas of concern regarding student achievement in our district. As I think Jana mentioned, this is both seats are at large, so the districts really are relevant, but I think it's stuff's pretty much countywide. Obviously, COVID wrecked everything, and we ended up with a ton of learning loss with our kids. We all hated it, but we can't let it happen again, but we also can't bemoan the fact that we lose sight of how we fix it. We need to figure out what resources are needed and what can be done to overcome it and help the kids and recover that learning loss. And the best way to do that would be talking to the teachers and getting their input and getting their buy-in to do that. Some of that remote was terrible. I've got a nephew who really struggled from it. Kindergarten, first and second grade, all on a computer, doesn't work for reading. We gotta make sure we don't lose our AP classes. As she mentioned, outliers on both ends of the spectrum. We gotta make sure they're taken care of. We gotta meet the kids where they are and figure out the best need or the best way to educate each of those children to bring them up, because each one's unique. There is learning loss, and we just gotta figure out the best way to combat it, and teachers will be the key to do that. Thank you.
Do you support the instruction of gender fluidity or gender theory concept based on subjective emotions to students in CCPS?
Short answer is no. The longer answer is there's two genders. Humans are not the first mammal that all of a sudden in the last 10 years evolved into more than two sexes. So there's only two. However, we got to teach all our kids to be accepting and love everybody. We got to teach anything that has to do with sexuality needs to be taught from a science-based standpoint, and what are the facts. Not necessarily the world that we're living in, whether the world they live in or not, facts are facts. But we should definitely not be teaching anybody K through 3 anything of any type of gender whatsoever.
What is your specialty that you are bringing to the table? such as policy writing and implementation, budgets, childhood development, or others?
As
Joe?
far as what I bring to the board, two biggest things I would say would be budgeting experience and problem solving. That's what I do every single day in my line of work. Got budgets for very complex problems, figure out how to work those budgets to solve the complex problem and build a successful project. Outside of that, it's thinking outside the box. I know one of the big concerns is also ties into the budgeting. Yeah, I talk very fast, I'm sorry, which also ties into the budgeting is the Kerwin. I know there's a lot of money that's going to be in there for all kinds of things. One of the things is for, I believe, athletics, but it's not for turf. But I actually think that's okay, because one thing we could possibly do with that money is start a program where the kids actually learn how to take care of the fields, as in turf management, and then that can prepare them for a possible future in going into turf management, taking care of ball fields, golf courses, things of that nature. So thinking outside the box, problem solving, and budget management.
Joseph?
Yeah, no, definitely want to thank Katie. You guys, both of you moderators, you guys did a fantastic job. Thanks for putting this on. It was great to get up here and talk with everybody. Learned a lot from actually each of you tonight. Reason I'm running is pretty simple. I'm a dad. I care. It's pretty much it. Need to get back to basics, back to fundamentals, whether that be rights, parental rights, student safety, as well as basics in education, making sure we're exceeding in education and making sure the kids and their education specifically are first and foremost and the biggest thing we do. So with that, hope I can get your vote on July 19th. Thank you.
Thank you.